Costco may appear to be a haven of bargains, but behind those tall pallets are silent killers, foods masquerading as healthful bargains that are stealthily destroying your health. Over 128,000 Americans are hospitalized and over 3,000 people are killed by foodborne infections each year. However, some of Costco's best-selling items continue to fall between the gaps. Is it possible that the nutritious snacks in your basket are the cause of your blood pressure spikes or persistent fatigue? How many of these best-selling books are covertly containing heavy metals, plastic fragments, microorganisms, or even substances that doctors refer to as permanent poisons? The truth becomes personal in this devastating story. And today, one bite at a time, we're revealing 8 common Costco meals that are gradually destroying your health. Don't become upset or panic just yet. We'll show you safer options at the end of each section so you can safeguard your financial situation and your health. 1. Smoked salmon. This spring, the headlines landed like a slap. Following tests that discovered Listeria hiding inside vacuum-sealed twin packets sent throughout southeastern Florida, Costco's shiny Kirkland signature smoked salmon was taken off the shelves in a Class 1 recall, the FDA's loudest alarm bell. That news came as a shock to anyone who has been relying on food sales to make ends meet, while their Social Security payment is getting smaller. The fish that had been marketed as an inexpensive indulgence for Sunday bagels suddenly took on the appearance of a plastic-wrapped landmine. This is where the twisting of the knife occurs. Officials emphasize that even if there haven't been any hospitalizations yet, the hazard doesn't go away when the news release ends. Like a smiling thief with your house key already in hand, cold smoked salmon can wait patiently in your freezer. The fish is perfumed by cold smoking without being cooked, making each smooth slice a 5-star hotel suite for bacteria. Older folks are up to 20 times more likely than younger people to die from listeriosis, which thrives in damp, cold environments. It's more than a statistic. ICU monitoring, hospital bills, and doctors whispering the term sepsis are all part of it. The timing is what makes it much more unsettling. Such recalls frequently occur after distribution. It seems like they only sound the fire alarm after half the house is covered in ash, even though a large portion of the product has already been consumed. Seniors have already risked their health by the time the FDA releases its out of an abundance of caution pronouncements. And perhaps this could be excused if it were a freak accident. However, the history of FDA inspection reports for Acme Smoked Fish Corporation, the covert organization behind Kirkland Salmon, reads like a horror script. Biofilm slime-coated drains, condensation dripping from the roof onto prep lines, and slicers with inaccessible cracks where bacteria have house parties. Managers dismissed positive Listeria swabs from one inspection as environmental without verifying whether the contamination had spread to surfaces that came into contact with food. That isn't being cautious. That's carelessness disguised as public relations. Older consumers anticipate stainless steel discipline rather than a germ playground with gaudy branding when a product is marketed as luxury. Hygiene is just one aspect of the deceit. Watchdog organizations have discovered that smoked salmon companies are falsifying labeling, misrepresenting farmed fish as wild, and slapping Norwegian on packaging as if it were magic. Those farms that are industrial, they're pelican-crying abysses of coastal pollution, antibiotic usage, and sea lice infestations. That betrayal is like deja vu wrapped in plastic wrap for elders who remember a time when Made in America meant something. They have witnessed this business game for decades. Sell a dream up front, hide the rot in the fine print, and the blood price that employees pay is hidden from view. Under quotas that prioritize speed over safety, immigrant workers in those icebox factories work 12-hour shifts in humid air while slicing fish with frozen hands. The floor is littered with wounds, respiratory conditions, and pure fatigue. This is like staring into a broken mirror for many elderly Americans who were previously on industrial lines. In order to sell reasonably priced luxury downstream, the firms continue to exploit people upstream. A person's lost breath is carried by every salmon slice, in addition to salt. While the front label boasts about omega-3 seconds, each dainty portion has almost 600 milligrams of sodium, which is nearly a fifth of the daily guideline for seniors. This sodium slowly tightens arteries. It's the oldest known corporate ploy. Put the hazard on the nutrition panel and wave a health halo in front of them. Safer pantry staples like Wild Planet sardines and extra virgin olive oil, which have been lab tested for contaminants, Starkest chunk light tuna in water, which lowers mercury levels than albacore, or chicken of the sea pink salmon pouches, which are fully cooked, shelf-stable, and provide protein without the risk, are better options than Kirkland salmon. Until Costco and Acme straighten up and present their safety records in the open, they won't make your breakfast into a medical gamble, even though they might not drape like a nice salmon ribbon on your bagel. Nothing about breakfast should conclude with an ICU bracelet. Therefore, it's best to leave this so-called luxury behind. Beef sticks come in second. Nearly 30,000 pounds of Chomps beef and turkey sticks were suddenly recalled in March of last year after consumers found real metal particles inside the purportedly clean label snacks, sending shivers along Costco aisles. These weren't internet rumors or hazy guesses. The lot codes, expiration dates, and establishment numbers were verified in plain and white by USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Agency. It was like learning that the granola bars on the market might contain loaded firearms for senior customers who had stocked their cabinets months earlier. The company that exuded healthy protein now resembled Exhibit A in a court of law. For a retiree who might only find out about the recall after their jaw is already bleeding, the company's insistence that no injuries had been recorded is cold comfort. A $2 snack can become a $4,000 emergency room bill in just one bite. However, this goes beyond a single faulty batch. It's about the chaos of the manufacturing line concealed by the wholesome branding. Meat snack factories produce thousands of sticks every shift, frequently switching between beef and turkey on the same lines, like overloaded conveyor belts. Sanitation windows get smaller until they are more of a recommendation than a rule. Workers hustle to meet targets, and purges in between runs are hurried. Errors occur with each turnover, as new hires come and go like revolving doors. Undeclared allergens that evade detection by hiding in labels, plastic fragments, or metal. The danger-to-benefit ratio seems inhumane to elderly people who gather Chomps as travel protein to store in glove boxes or handbags. When production speed surpasses human safety, the truth gets filthy the cleaner the marketing gets, and salt, another treachery, is concealed within that thin stick. Almost 300 milligrams of salt are contained in each of these robust sticks. You've already consumed about 1/3 of the daily salt allowance recommended by the American Heart Association after just 2 meals. That's like throwing gasoline on a slow-burning fuse for anyone using blood pressure medication. Although the fine print mentions stroke risk and a surge in blood pressure, the package screams paleo and keto. Seniors have seen this same old trick 1,000 times. While silently aging their arteries in the background, dangle keywords like dazzling bait. When examined closely, even the sourcing assertions falter. Although Chomps takes pride in its grass-fed beef, watchdogs have long pointed out that a large portion of that label is based on imported meat from locations with laxer control and audits than a worn-out belt. It's shrink wrap and deja vu for elder Americans who witnessed Made in USA go from manufacturing floors. Supply chains made to take shortcuts. Slogans made to calm. Former workers also spoke of 12-hour shifts, chilly, wet chambers, repetitive stress injuries, and bosses who prioritize speed over safety behind those factory doors. The flaw is riding home in someone's Costco bag when one employee falls asleep next to a metal detector. Meanwhile, the jerky industry is already beginning to see the onset of legal storm clouds. Other products have been brought to court for making misleading all-natural claims and mislabeling their origins, but Chomps hasn't yet been the target of high-profile litigation, like Jack Link's. Every lawsuit erodes the facade further, and even skepticism turns poisonous for retirees who can't afford to play with confidence. No marketing gimmick can restore credibility after it has been damaged. What is the exit ramp then? Safer protein substitutes are lurking in plain sight as an alternative to gambling on Chomp sticks. Swanson and Hormel sells neat tins of skinless chicken breast packed in water, and Bumblebee and Wild Planet offers vacuum-sealed cans of wild sardines and mackerel tested for low mercury. Perfect for quick salads or sandwiches, it's easy to open and store. David Seed's roasted pumpkin seeds or wonderful pistachios. Unsalted packs provide a plant-based protein boost without the risk of salt overload or allergy roulette. Although they don't have gaudy paleo-approved stickers, they provide real protein that fits neatly in lunchboxes, purses, and glove compartments. Because Chomps might still try to sell themselves as better for you after October 2025. However, the block gamble is simply too high for elderly Americans. You should be fueled by your snack, not tricked by it. Third, salads and sandwiches. This might provide the headline that freezes even seasoned Costco consumers in the middle of the aisle. 86. Fresh and ready. Foods offers salads, sandwiches, and wraps that are ready to eat. After inspectors discovered Listeria growing within the company's own equipment, not simply on a cutting board or in a stray cooler, City Point Market and Fresh Take. Crave Away, along with its shadow brands, were hit with a broad recall. While these same groceries were neatly arranged in Costco warehouses from Arizona to Washington, marketed as quick lunches for busy retirees, 10 people were hospitalized and 1 person died. The recall was deemed preventive by officials, but precaution is a luxury for senior Americans on fixed incomes. Because a mistaken turkey wrap can result in a hospital cost of $6,000 more quickly than a credit card swipe. Even though the notice was designed in a professional, clean style, elders saw it as a disguised death threat. Trust was broken. Health took a chance. Savings are at stake. Furthermore, the microorganisms are merely the prelude. Under strict quotas, these factories produce thousands of sandwiches per shift, operating like casinos where the house always wins. Germs find hiding places and establish camps because time spent disassembling slicers and cleaning drains is viewed as lost revenue. Incorporate the harsh labor calculations. Poorly compensated laborers racing through 12-hour hours with sore wrists, hardly trained, and racing quotas that increase in value like a slot machine jackpot. A biological ambush ensues downstream from a single blunder upstream. It's like inheriting a booby trap for retirees who are only seeking for a fast turkey club. Seniors pay the biggest price, workers are pinched, and corporations take shortcuts. Then there is the mayhem of allergies, the kind of horror that seldom makes for dramatic headlines. Wraps and dips were discovered to be departing the establishment without stating the presence of milk, soy, or nuts. Lunch camouflaged as a minefield. Imagine a grandmother getting a wrap for her grandchild without realizing the sauce has been subtly changed to one that contains dairy. After only one harmless bite, she's trembling and calling 911. These catastrophes don't occur intentionally. They occur as a result of midweek ingredient swaps in supply chains, printers falling behind recipes, and oversights being obscured by volume. Although the box may appear innocent, the contents may be a ticking time bomb, and the defects will only get worse when the products are delivered to Costco. Customers complain about fogged cases, sandwiches perspiring under malfunctioning chillers, and packs piled over the cooling line like misplaced luggage, even though refrigerated meals are meant to remain below 40 degrees. A 10-degree increase is a sign of growth for bacteria, not a setback. Seniors who try to save half for tomorrow just make matters worse by allowing germs to grow overnight. The sole hint that tells customers whether their lunch is safe is the lot codes, which are printed so faintly that even a hawk could not read them. They could as well be invisible to aging sight. If those who are most at risk are unable to read the notice, what use is a recall? The meanest taunt? Those labels. New. Inspired by a chef. Wholesome. Healthy is a terrible joke if it ends with an ICU bracelet. And fresh is meaningless if there are germs brewing inside. These sandwiches, which entice seniors with the promise of inexpensive convenience and then risk the health of those who are least likely to survive an illness, are a masterwork of corporate theater. And out of extreme caution, they conceal themselves behind the same worn-out shield when they are discovered. However, that statement won't make up for lost time, erase trauma, or even pay off medical expenses. It's a public relations band-aid applied to a wound that never should have been. The easiest route is the safest one after October 2025. Make your way past the shiny boxes from Fresh Take Crave Away, City Point Market, and Fresh and Ready. Instead, rely on companies like Oscar Mayer's sealed packs, Applegate, Just Bare, and Boar's Head that have better safety records. Dole or Taylor Farms, bagged greens rinsed at home, canned salmon with vinegar slaw, Hillshire Farm, deli meats you can actually see, and a large selection of groceries at Costco without the Russian roulette or create your own. It won't get you to the emergency room, but it might not have a chef-inspired sticker. You should never have to choose between convenience and your life, especially if you have already earned the right to eat in peace. 4. Chocolate. It had the sound of a foil-wrapped fairy tale. This year, Rolling Pin's Dubai-style chocolate, which had pistachio cream filling and gleaming gold wrappers, erupted into Costco shelves. Social media honored the year's most luxurious taste with this glittering confection designed for viral pictures and Christmas gift baskets. However, that wonderful moment quickly vanished. After discovering a substantial allergy mistake, Costco immediately discontinued the product in September 2025. Gluten was stated on the label rather than wheat. That would appear to most shoppers to be a small typographical error. It's a loaded pistol to anyone who has celiac disease or a wheat allergy. A nocturnal ambulance ride, rashes, and stomach pains might result from consuming one square of mislabeled chocolate. Although the recall was deemed voluntary, retirees who frequently purchase candies in bulk and keep them for months without realizing they've just placed a health danger next to their tea bags are still at risk. This is the unpleasant reality of popular eating trends. The most vulnerable consumers bear the financial burden as they rush to market more quickly than safety inspections can keep up. Furthermore, the label is not the only source of danger. Chocolate's shadow has always existed, but it's growing darker these days. Consumer Reports' independent laboratory testing revealed that a number of chocolate brands, including high-end ones, have high levels of lead and cadmium. The symptoms of these heavy metals are not very noticeable. They accumulate year after year as they silently settle in the brain, kidneys, and bones. That one little square turns into a gradual drip of poison, masquerading as comfort for elderly people who are already caring for delicate organs. It's indulgence's harsh irony. What is marketed as a sweet delight has the potential to subtly erode the body like rust and spread beneath new paint. Then beneath the deliciousness lies the moral decay. A significant portion of the world's cocoa still originates from West African farms, where child exploitation, forced labor, and starvation salaries have been frequently reported by watchdog groups. This implies that the fingerprints of exploited children from half a world away could be present in every luxurious bite. The notion that their holiday chocolate could be based on human suffering seems like a betrayal wrapped in gold foil to seniors who were raised with the belief that honest labor should be compensated fairly. If exotic delight is tainted with pain and replete with oversight errors, what good is it? This is the last twist. Marketing psychology. Prestige and scarcity were key components of Rolling Pin's branding. This type of emotional bait targets senior consumers who are compelled to watch every dollar but are yearning for delicacies from memorable occasions. The market is playing a terrible game. Make something appear limited so that people would hurry to get it before they inquire about its safety. Joy is promised by the shiny exterior, while carelessness, pollution, and exploitation are concealed in the fine print. The Trojan horse is dessert. Therefore, Rolling Pin's chocolate in the Dubai style shouldn't be regarded as an exotic treat after October 2025. It serves as a warning about how easily glamour may mask danger. Try Lindt Excellence Pistachio, Tony's Chocolate-Only Pistachio Bars, or Ghirardelli Intense Dark Pistachio if you still have a craving for chocolate that tastes like a treat without endangering your health. Stronger quality control, more lucid allergen labeling, and meaningful independent audits are characteristics of these brands. They may not be widely shared on social media, but they provide peace of mind, which is the rarest luxury of all. Dessert should satisfy your sweet desire, not your health, after a lifetime of hard work. 5th, Jack Colby. The headline from June 2024 was incisive enough to cut through Costco's Northwest communications. Inspectors found plastic particles lodged in the cheese, leading to the sudden recall of Tillamook's Colby Jack and Monterey Jack twin-pack slices, popular sandwich and snack plate staples. A Class 2 recall was imposed on item number 651195, which was branded with the best. By date of October 22nd, even while they are not necessarily permanent, health effects could result from an FDA classification that seems clinical, but actually means this. On paper, plastic may appear innocuous, but when you bite into a splinter, the truth is far from that. It can pierce gums, break dentures, and become lodged in the throat like a miniature landmine. Because one wrong slice can transform lunch into a choking catastrophe, the phrase precautionary feels more like a taunt to retirees who are already drowning in medical expenses. The irony is even more pronounced. The century-old farmer-owned cooperative Tillamook, which was once portrayed as a shining example of ethical dairy, is today embroiled in the same artificial nightmare as the nameless industrial behemoths it purported to combat. Conveyor belts, disintegrating machine guards, slicing blades, or other places where plastic and metal interact are probably where the contamination began. However, the impact goes beyond a single malfunction. It reveals a decay that permeates the whole food chain. It's an oppressive reliance on plastic. This won't be the last fragment to slip onto a plate because plastic now gets into almost every mouthful before food reaches your lips. From wrapping to transportation to the very machinery of manufacture. Even residents of Oregon, who often support their home brand, posted scathing remarks about excessively sharp plastic in forums. There was something more difficult to accept beneath the cynicism. The loss of faith in a company that was formerly seen as family. And for elderly Americans, trust is quite important. For many, Tillamook represented a dwindling group of trustworthy names in a corporate and chilly grocery industry. It was like witnessing the silent demolition of a childhood farmhouse when the logo appeared on a recall notice. Not a warning, no justification, simply gone. It poses a more serious query. In order to reach quotas, how many other safe staples are skimming by on nostalgia? Bits of machines invariably find their way into food, as businesses extend their lifespan in an attempt to increase profits. What is promoted as artisan tradition begins to resemble disguised industrial waste. Don't take a chance with this cheese that you purchased. Give it back right now. Plastic roulette isn't fair to your arteries and teeth. There are safer alternatives lurking in plain sight. With their strict Swiss control, Emile Gruyere slices. Slices of Jarlsberg Light, produced in accordance with strict quality standards in Norway, or Sargento Ultra-Thin Provolone, which combines flavor with rigorous safety standards in the United States. They won't make you cringe at every bite, but they might not have Tillamook's folksy charm, because no one will be shielded from broken plastic by nostalgia after October 2025. Trust must be earned, not merely recalled with nostalgia. 6. In the past, Dairy Costco's deli packages appeared to be party starters. Chicken wraps, street taco plates, and creamy dips with queso fresco on top. However, that joyous atmosphere was dashed in early 2024 when the same kits were taken off the market after Rizzo Lopez dairy products were linked to a multi-year, fatal Listeria outbreak. 2 deaths were confirmed by investigators. One is pregnancy loss, and more than 20 hospitalizations have been connected to the cheeses that are folded into Costco's beloved family items. Listeria is more than just a stomach ailment. It infiltrates the brain and bloodstream, leaving vulnerable people on ventilators. Suddenly, a taco plate intended for a celebration felt more like a card of condolence. Subsequent FDA reports revealed the accumulation of sanitation issues at Rizzo Lopez factories. Equipment and drains had positive Listeria swabs, and repeated cleanings failed to address the underlying issue. They let the infection to persist rather than eradicate it, making each shipment a biological risk. Even worse, until the recall warnings came, many customers were unaware that they had brought these cheeses home because they were hidden away in Costco's Deli Kits. The search for danger seemed futile to elderly consumers who were peering at faint lot codes on crowded labels. There are safer alternatives, such as reading Smoke, Belgioso Parmesan, Crystal Farms Mozzarella, and Cabot Creamery Sharp Cheddar, brands that reduce the risk of Listeria by pasteurization or aging. Rizzo Lopez Dairy is no longer an authentic flavor after October 2025. Wearing Fiesta colors, it is a silent threat. Meals are seasoned by certain foods. Season tragedy with these cheeses. 7. Bruce Pack's ready-to-eat chicken may seem like a quick and simple protein fix, but it caused one of the biggest recalls in recent memory last October. Listeria contamination resulted in the removal of about 10 million pounds. It's not a typo. The same bacteria that flourishes in cold, wet plants was discovered in finished products, leading to the recall of millions of pounds of chicken that were intended to be properly cooked. Red's Burritos, El Monterey Taquitos, and Rana chicken truffle carbonara, some of Costco's best-selling frozen foods, were suddenly questioned. Furthermore, the concept of convenience stopped sounding frugal and began sounding deadly when an Indiana wrongful death case claimed that a kid had died after consuming a meal prepared using Bruce-packed chicken. Bacteria are not the only threat. The system is built with it. There is no need for a final kill step at home once poultry is cooked in large plants. There is no protection if pollution infiltrates. Every bite turns into a gamble when you factor in a history of complaints about foreign objects, plastic shards, rubber fragments, and even metal slivers. Trust is betrayed even by the nutrition label. Injections that include a lot of sodium keep the meat moist, but also subtly raise blood pressure, especially in elderly people who are already on medication. There are safer shortcuts. Boar's head, golden classic chicken breast, Simple Truth, organic grilled chicken strips, and Applegate Organics oven, roasted chicken breast, provide ready-to-eat protein without the Russian roulette. The obvious decision after October 2025 is to keep Bruce Pack's chicken off the shelf, because convenience isn't a good deal if it comes with medical expenses. 8. Mineral water Topo Chico. Mineral water towers are sold at Costco in shiny glass bottles that provide the appearance of purity, much like bottled Starlight. However, testing have revealed two troubling shadows. The first was just now. An 18-pack that was distributed throughout the Southwest was recalled in June 2025 when it was found to contain Pseudomonas aeruginosa, a bacteria that can infiltrate blood, lungs, or open wounds, or transform a refreshing drink into a hospital stay for someone with compromised immunity. Deeper, the second shadow remains. According to Consumer Reports, out of all the sparkling waters tested, Topo Chico had the highest levels of PFAS, a permanent chemical. Levels remained above more stringent standards that scientists recommend, even after Coca-Cola claimed decreases. PFAS do not wash off. They build up in blood and are subtly connected to immune system dysfunction, hormone imbalance, and cancer. This feels like betrayal in a bottle to retirees who believed that water was the one thing they could trust. The same chemicals that were once present in non-stick cookware and firefighting foams are now linked to the bubbles that are promoted as healthy soda substitutes. And there's another bitter truth hidden behind the glitter. The inspiration for Topo Chico comes from Monterrey, Mexico, where many blame Coca-Cola for depleting aquifers during dry spells. While local families ration buckets of water, Americans sip well-being. No lemon twist compares to the bitterness of the irony. There are safer options available. Perrier sparkling water, Mountain Valley spring water in glass, and Poland's natural spring water are all subjected to stricter testing. Because Topo Chico becomes a gamble after October 2025, and no longer just sparkles. The only thing that can keep us safe when food safety fails is awareness. Join the battle and demand the truth behind every bite by subscribing right now. We appreciate you watching the entire video today. In order to receive updates on our most recent daily videos, please remember to click like and subscribe if you found the content useful. Check out the other highlighted videos that are now displayed on your screen. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.